Hi everybody, this is Murugan. Happy to present another interesting video. Through this video, I can explain you how to use this market depth to understand the intraday price behavior. I see a lot of day traders or even beginners tend to use this particular column and they find it very interesting because they sooner they get into NSE India website, the very first thing they do is they go and check number of buyers and number of sellers standing in the queue. And sooner they get to know there are about 12 lakh buyers standing in the queue over the 3 lakh shares available for sale, they quickly say that the demand is greater than supply and they expect the price to go up. In a way, they go and create a long position. They say that it is good stock to buy and with the hope to price to go up. And sometimes it really goes up, but not always up. And of course, when it comes to technical analysis, we don't work with the certainty. But I'm really concerned about the logical aspect of this particular one. So three things is what I'm going to explain in this particular video. If you ask me, what are the things I'm going to explain in this video? The very first thing which I'm going to ask you is, what it is. Okay, what it is. Number two, how FII and DII, I'm talking about the institutions who generally place orders. Okay, now how these guys place orders. So then only you understand how to make use of this one. Number three, how to make use of it. Okay, now when you understand what it is and how institutions use it, then you can really understand how to make use of it. So that is the purpose of developing this particular video. Let's take this case. Okay, we get into a company called EQSIS. When I see the counter, there are a good number of buyers over a sellers. So I see there are total bid quantity is quite greater when compared to the total ask quantities. Now I'm talking about the bid quantity versus ask quantity. So if I ask you, where is your guess? Do you expect the price to go up and down? As a common man, as an intraday trader, most of the people tends to see the price to go up as that buyers are more than sellers. My question to you, why are you buying a stock now? Because you believe that sooner you buy a stock, there are a lot more people here to buy a stock that may push the price to go up. If I'm asking you, where are you? How come you sense there are a lot more people? You are directly connecting to this one, that there are so many buyers over the sellers, so the price to go up. Let me tell you one thing. These buyers are not a potential buyer. Remember, they are not a potential buyer. They are not a potential buyer. Why? Remember, these buyers who are standing in the queue, they are after all standing in queue, not necessarily going to trade. It means they have after all placed an order. I'm talking about they have simply placed an order. They are not necessarily going to trade. Okay, I'm using the word not necessarily. Doesn't mean they don't have to trade. They can also trade, but not necessarily they have to trade. So there may be someone who simply placed order, but his idea is not to buy at any price. Maybe his idea is to buy at that price, or maybe he may even cancel when the price comes to that level. So remember, don't believe this to create the trades. So that is one. So what is the first thing you need to understand? All buy orders are not necessarily going to become a trades. In a way, the more number of buyers standing in the queue need not necessarily that there are a lot of buyers to buy for the price to go up. Number two, now we need to understand how FII and DII, I'm talking about institutions, place orders. Remember, if an institution really wants to buy lots and lots of shares, they don't simply place order and wait in queue till they find a seller. Let's say if I want to buy millions of shares, I don't place my orders in queue because you will quickly understand that I'm in queue and then I may not get the shares. For me to fill my quantity, what do I do is I try to hide myself. I'm not talking about the disclosed quantity. Disclosed quantity is actually meant for a retail people like you and me to place orders. I'm really talking about the institutions. They don't, express, they don't leak their orders till they find the price. So what they do is they have an institutional dealing desk. They ask people to monitor the counter very closely. Sooner they see the sellers available, quickly they place order and they take all this thing. It means they do place orders. Remember, they do place order. In fact, it can even be a buy order, but it is generally gets traded immediately. Okay, now it generally gets traded immediately. It means they don't stand in the queue at all. That is the very first thing you need to know. So you and me are looking at this with so many buyers. So we believe strong hands are standing in the market. Remember, strong hands will never ever stand in the counter to buy or sell a shares. It means this particular depth, market depth, is not going to help us in terms of understanding the buyers or sellers standing in the counters. The third method, how to make use of it. I hope by this time you got some reasonable clarity about what is bid quantity and what is ask quantity, how traditional way of looking at bid and ask quantity is so illogical, and most importantly, you might have understood how the FII, I mean the strong hands, the institutions generally places their orders because they don't like to see their order standing in queue. Most of the time, they place an order which is immediate or cancelled. So then, how can I make use of this market depth in terms of understanding the FIA activity? I'm not just about FIA activity, about any strong hands activity. To explain it, I've taken a snap from nsaindia.com because I think this is a market depth. It's an order book. I hope most of you can see this. I think most of you must be familiar about it. Not much of explanation needed. But just to summarize it, let me tell you. This side tells me about the buyer side, and this is talking about the seller side. So you see there are about 3,000 buyer, another 2,000 buyer, another 2,000 buyer, another 500 buyer, another 1,000 buyer. There are so many buyers standing in the queue to buy the shares, but put together there are 10,20,000 buyers standing so far. Likewise, there are 162 seller, there is another 165 seller, there is another 1,222 seller, another 500 seller, another 3,000 seller. Put together, we have about a 15,50,000 seller standing in the seller side. Okay, now to explain things in this video, I mean each and every share as a seller so that it becomes my convenient to explain it really well. I hope you got that assumptions well in terms of taking it. So let me tell you, there are about a 10,20,000 buyer versus 15,50,000 seller. So if I give this scenario to someone to guess the market move, they simply say the price to go down because they see a lot more seller over the buyers. So they expect the price to go down. I've already explained why it is so illogical to look at it. With all these given things, then Murugan, how can I really understand some institutions buying or selling in the market? To understand it, I really want you people to be hyper focused in watching in every second from this video because it may not be that easy to understand it in first shot. So don't conclude that it is something difficult. Rather, you see this video once, twice, thrice, have some patience. Probably you take a gap of one day, again look at this video because you get a lot more understanding and clarity with your questions. This video can explain you. But if you got something which is so unanswered by anybody, don't hesitate to ask such questions in the comment section. We don't mind answering your questions there. If not, you can even contact us through through our website. Let me now explain how to make use of it. Okay, now what I've taken is I've just simply taken the market book, order book. So I hope you see this is the order book. A few minutes later, the order book is just getting updated like this. So my question to you, what is really changed? Look at this one. The total buyer remains 10,20,000 buyer, but here it is actually 10,50,000 buyer. It means it simply says the buyers were actually short up by around 30,000. So some new order got into the market, which is around 30,000 fresh buy order is in place. But if you look at the total traded quantity, it remains same. It means not much of trading. It is after all a buy order. And if you look at the seller side, it remains same. So it means that nothing got changed except the buy order. So that is what my understanding. If you look at this, the buy order is increased by 30,000. I hope you might have understood this. The sell order is actually increased by, the sell order is remained same. The sell order have not made any changes, total quantity. So what might have happened? So if you ask my interpretation, someone, I think somebody, I think it can be anybody who simply placed a buy order, okay, for 30,000 quantity, but not really want to buy at a given price or a market price. He actually placed at a very lower price. So he is considered as a passive buyer, may or may not buy with the intention or without the intention of to buy, but he simply placed a passive buy order. That's what my understanding is by looking at this difference. So I hope you got some idea that as the changes in market order book, you can really understand whether the order which are recently placed is a passive order or active order or what might have happened. I think to explain it, I've given the next example. Look at this. In this scenario, what really happened? Look at this one. In this case, the total buyer, look at this one. The total buyer is around 10,20,000, But here the total buying side is only 10 lakh. I mean, 20,000 buyers got disappeared. 20,000 buyer got disappeared. And meanwhile, look at the seller, it remains same. From the seller side, I don't see any changes. And the quantity is also remain same. That's what I said. The buy order is after all decreased by, the buy order is actual after all decreased by 20,000 quantity, but not much of trades. I simply consider this someone have cancelled their buy order. So it is what? So how do I interpret this change? Is buy order got cancelled. Murugan, this is a basic understanding. Have some patience in watching this complete video and you will get the true nature of buying and selling. Look at this change now. Look at this. The buyer remains same. Okay, now there is no change in buyer if you look at this particular one. But look at the seller. So far, seller 15,15,000 seller now is only around 15 lakh sellers. It means sudden drop in seller is what really happened. Sudden drop in sellers were, but otherwise the trade quantity and this remains same. There's nothing much. So if you ask my interpretation, some seller who were so far standing in the queue have cancelled that order. Out of 15,50,000 seller, 50,000 sellers who have simply cancelled their orders. Nothing much have really happened. It is very important to see now. Look at this. Look at this change. There are about 10,20,000 buyers. Still, it is 10,20,000 buyer. But look at the seller. I can seriously see there is a big drop from the seller quantity. Meanwhile, surprisingly, if you see, the traded quantity is actually increased by 50K. I think now you see this is nothing but increases by 50K when compared to sometime. Sometime it was only 60 lakh shares got traded. But if you look at now, it is 60 lakh 50,000 shares got traded. It simply tells me 50,000 shares got traded. Meanwhile, 50,000 sell order got disappeared. What exactly it tells me? Some buyer who got into market and he is not conservative about placing order. Rather, he placed an order which he said okay to any seller price and he took 50,000 shares immediately. It means so far standing 15,50,000 seller, out of which 50,000 shares is already been sold to that particular buyer. So what might have really happened from this time to this time? When you see such changes, it tells me some active buyer bought a shares close to 50K. I consider this is a strong hand buying because strong hand generally places their market order. That's why I said this is an aggressive buyer placed a market order for about 50K. I hope you got this clarity. Let me give you another example. Look at this. In this example, I hope you can understand that 10,20,000 buyer is still there. 15,50,000 seller. Now it is increased. Look at this. It is 16 lakh. It means you see there are a lot more sellers coming into the picture. I agree. But these lot more sellers are not ready to sell it right away at any given price. They are expecting more price to sell, or they may or may not sell. That may be even provoking because the change in quantity have not really taken place. I see there is no change in quantity. It means it is after all a passive sell order. He is not someone who's a desperate seller because I don't see any change in quantity. It is just about increases in sell order. I think this really tells me that just increases in sell order, nothing much have really happened. This seller may or may not sell it. But look at this particular scenario. If you look at this particular scenario, so far 10,20,000 buyer is only 10 lakh buyer. It means 20,000 buyer is actually disappeared. My question is, what happened to this 20,000 buyer? Meanwhile, the sellers are remain same. If you look at this particular say, the seller remains same, no change in seller. But surprisingly, if you see this particular traded quantity, it is increased by 20K. I hope by this time you should have got a clarity that 10,20,000 buyer who were waiting in queue now got disappeared by 20K. It means only 10 lakh. So 20,000 buyer got disappeared. 20,000 buying order is now filled. Nothing but someone dumped the stock in the market and he just out. So someone who placed, I think now you can understand what happened. The buying order is decreased by 20K. That is what I've explained. The selling order remains same. and the total traded quantity is increased by 20,000. It is nothing but aggressive seller, someone who just entered into the market, simply placed a sell order at any given price. Basically, I call it as a market order for about 20,000 quantity. So this is telling me someone dumping the stock, someone distributing the stock, not just someone I actually say it is a strong hands or active player is actually playing this way. So I consider this is an active seller. So I hope I've given you a reasonable understanding how the change in market depth should be seen to understand whether there are aggressive buyers or aggressive sellers in the market. Okay, now it is a time for us to judge. I think I am just asking you people to decide where the market is heading to. Is the market is really going to go up or the market really to go to down? I think that is the reason why we are even watching this particular video. So let me give a clue. Let's assume this is around 10 o'clock. Okay, this is 10 a.m. Assume this is 10 a.m. Okay, 10:01. Look at this one. If you say that Murugan, there are so many seller over the buyer, so I am expecting price to go down, your understanding is still not right. You have to again watch this video. Nothing personal. I want you people to be little more engaged in this video. See the video right from the basic if you expect the price to go down. So this is not the right option. I am actually telling you this is very, very bullish. I'm telling you this is very, very bullish. Why? Because the buyer remains same. Okay. But if you look at this, the seller, 50,000 sellers are not there. 50,000 sellers so far standing, but it is not there. Meanwhile, the trading quantity is increased by 50,000. So it is simply telling me, all my observations are simply telling me some active buyer got into the market and he simply taken the shares and going out. Although there are so many sellers standing in the queue, I expect the price to go up in this particular company. I hope you got some understanding in terms of interpreting the market depth. I hope this video solved the purpose, but something more I have a lot more quiz for you people to attempt. So what you guys can do is, I've got 3 types of quiz: the basic, medium, and advanced. So when it comes to the basic level, I think what you people have to do is, you have to now, sometime back, if you see, I was actually, written something. Just take about a minute before, you can see a lot of my observations being written here. And then I was given you the interpretation. I want you people to go to the comment section and write your comments in the comment section. Sir, by any chance, if you find this particular video is so appealing and interesting and unique, you should also take a time to appreciate us, and it motivates a lot to us. So do share this video, do like this video. Probably you can actually, make it in a comment section, express yourself, because that motivate a lot in terms of developing such video going forward. So you don't see one another video, or you don't see a video which is already available in the YouTube. Whatever we post, we just take an efforts in terms of for you to understand it in detail. Okay, now it's time for you to answer the quiz 1. So when it comes to quiz 1, write your comments in the comment section. If you ask me what I write here, the buyer is increased by 10K and seller remains same. There is no change in seller. There is no change in seller. And if you look at the total traded quantity, so no change in total traded quantity. So write it clearly, but make sure that your answer is accompanied with quiz 1 answer. Okay. So then you actually go to interpretation. So what it actually tells me, after all, buy order alone increased, but no change in quantity, no change in sell order. So it simply tells me that a passive buy order got into the market. So you guys actually can go and write it, because you may have an interpretation may be wrong. If it is wrong, we get a chance to correct you. Not just we, other viewers can also correct you. In a way, they can also understand it. So likewise, you can also comment other people understanding. That fight and that conversation can help us to learn things in detail. So do not forget to see the comment section as well, especially for this particular video. So I hope by this time you got reasonable time for answering the quiz 1. Likewise, you have to go to quiz 2. I'm gonna keep only 5 seconds for you to see the video. If needed, you scroll and pause the video and understand it and take notes in the paper and go and write it. So this is what really happened. So you see there are about 10 lakh 20,000 buyers, but here 20 lakh 20,000 buyers. Sudden surge in buying. But the seller remains same, the quantity remains same. Although it is 10 lakh buyer, but there is not much of trade. So it is still all 10 lakh is just a passive order. Maybe you may have a different answer. I've given you a clue, but I just want you people to understand it and start writing it in your section. So this time I'm not even going to give a clue for this. Try to understand. You have to look at this area. You have to look at this area and look at this area and look at this area and look at this traded quantity, and first write what might have happened in the comment section and make your interpretation. So far whatever you did is actually the basic level. I hope this is something which is reasonably important. You should know how to answer this particular medium level. If not, you can actually go back right from the beginning and see it once again, because this really tells you how to judge the market as well for especially intraday trading. So make use of it. So look at this, what might have happened here. And I think there is some difference happened in supply side, and trading quantity is also different. So just I really want you people to go to the comment section, but when you write answer for this, make sure that you refer quiz 4 and medium level, so that it is easy for other people to comment in the same grounds. And if you go to the medium level quiz 5, I think something really happened here also, because the buying side is really decreased. You see there is a difference here. And yes, trading quantity is changed, but not much of supply. So this is what you have to write it in the what happened in your interpretation. And likewise, this is an advanced level, although it is not explained in this video, but I've just given you for you to think about it. I've made some tweak consciously. I did a lot of things for that. Some hidden thing is inside the table. It is out of box thinking alone can actually think about it. But if you got it right, make sure that you have to mention it in the comment box. But make sure that you refer quiz 6 for this, and advanced level you have to mention when you write it. And do comment other people as well. And if someone is so right, just give a like mark to them, so that they also get an appreciation, happy about it, and they will also get it corrected by you people. So let's work as community, as work together. But I want you people to if you are not getting answer at all, there is a clue. Okay, now probably if anybody need that clue, I can give you in the comment section. But if by any chance, if you got the clue, you can also give us a clue for others to listen. Okay, now there is a clue in this, especially you people have to look at everything in detail. Only then you understand what might have really happened. Okay. Okay, now answer it in this section. Now let's take the quiz 7. Okay, now this is also a very interesting thing. What lot might have happened. I think you see a lot of changes here. Like the buying side change, and and selling side change, and you also see there is a change in quantity. So it is more about logics and reasoning. So if you ask me what is technical analysis, technical analysis is not just looking at patterns. Anything we do in terms of understanding demand and supply is actually called as technical analysis. So by any chance, if you guys looking for something new videos, don't hesitate to ask such videos from us, because we have a lot more videos available, but we develop videos based on our viewers' request. So if you find such requirement, if you're not able to see such videos outside, you can ask us. And if we find there is a purpose to post such video, we will also post it. But we simply post video based on that democracy. So many people asking the same video, then we as a team sit together and we develop this. I hope you can also understand that efforts in developing a video, because as we develop the videos, it takes a lot of time and efforts, but we simply get motivated as you people take efforts to comment and share these videos. Thanks for watching this video all the way.